Hi, everyone. I'm Scott at Chief Architect. Welcome and thanks so much for attending. I'm here today to share my tips and techniques for using the roof tools in Chief Architect. I have my occasional assistant you may see periodically through the event, and this is Molly. I have Molly, and then this is Maya, my Maltese. And we also have three staff members from Chief Architect to keep an eye on me as well as help out during the event. In the presentation today, we're going to focus on roof tips and tricks. And let me kind of switch gears here and open up and share my screen. In this session, I'm going to look at a number of tips you can use when building your roofs. You can control building roofs a number of ways just by using the automatic roof tools. Beyond the automatic tools, you can use the manual roof tools to create just about any style of roof. I'll go through the steps to create a compound curved roof. And we'll take a look at a roof project where we can dramatically change the look of the house with different roof styles. Let's go into the program and get started. In this Chief Architect sample plan that I have open, it's a simple rectangular garage with a covered porch that we're going to go through and look at our roof tools. Let's begin by going up into the menu and coming into the Build Roof options. Underneath Build Roof, the program has a number of roof styles that it can generate. By coming down to the Roof tab, you can click on any one of these images and the program will open up the help file directly to how to create that roof, and you can see what the steps are in creating it. All of these roof styles you see in this dialog can be created automatically. Let's go through and create a few of them. On the main roof panel, I'm going to come in and I'm going to turn on the automatic roof rebuild. That means any changes that I make to the model, moving a wall, toggling a wall to a gable or a shed, the program will automatically generate the roof for me. For the roof pitch, I'm going to use 6 and 12. As far as the overhang options and other options, I'm just going to accept the defaults and build a 6 and 12 pitched roof. In this case, we built an automatic hip roof. One of the things you can do is easily make these changes, and since the automatic roof is on, I click on this wall, and in my lower status bar you're going to see a tool that will toggle that wall to a full gable wall. I'll go ahead and rotate around the back side of the house, select the wall, using the exact same tool, create a full gable. Press the space bar to deselect the wall, and now you can see how quickly you create that style of a roof. When you want to reset the pitch of the roof, let's go back into the Build Roof option, come in here, and I'm just going to simply change the pitch from 6 and 12 to 2 and 12. Now to create a shed roof, let's rotate around. I'm just going to use my middle mouse button. I'm holding my Alt key down to rotate around. I'm going to tap on this wall. I don't have a toggle in my lower status bar for converting that to a shed roof, but if you double click and open this wall up, there is a roof panel for this wall specification, and you'll find a number of roof options. Roofs in the program are controlled by walls, and when we converted this outside wall to a gable, what the program was doing is just toggling this setting to a full gable wall. Now for this side wall that I opened up, I'm going to make sure that it's a high shed gable wall, and when we close the dialog, you'll see that the program will automatically create that shed roof for us. Now I'm going to go through the steps in creating this compound curved roof that you see on your screen, and let's begin by using the shed roof as a way to begin that process. When I use the manual roof tools, I usually have the automatic roof tools get me as far as I can because it saves me a lot of time. I'm going to begin by clicking on that roof, and I'm going to come down and use the copy button, and then I'm going to copy and paste this in place. If you're using an older version, you may see a slightly different tool. When you use this operation, the program is going to ask you if you would like to turn off the automatic roofs. And in this case, to create the manual curved roof, I'm going to turn that feature off. Now that I've made a copy of that roof plane in the exact same coordinates, I'm going to use this red handle. I'm going to drag it past the post and beam support, and let's click on the top of it, pull it down just a little bit, and now we'll go ahead and join that. You'll see the snap right in here. Now at this point I have two unique roof planes. Let's begin by looking at the uppermost roof plane. Let's double click, open it up. When you are manually editing these roof planes, in the roof specification is an option towards the middle part of the dialog to curve the roof. At the ridge, I want to set that at 0 degrees. Let's go ahead and put 0 in here. At this point, the program is going to ask us if we need to make some adjustments in the plate height. I'm going to go ahead and let the program do that for me. The other thing I'm going to do is at the eave, which will be down here at the edge of the house, that angle will now be at 18.92. I'm going to copy that value and use it in the next segment of the roof. Let's grab the next segment of the roof and make a similar modification. Double click to open it up, and at this point we'll curve the roof, and at the ridge, which should be at the highest point, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to paste that value of 18.92. That will make sure that it's a very smooth and compound curve to create that roof segment. And you can see we now have a nice compound curve, and that seam matches up exactly because we pasted in the value from the other curve. Now let's go back through and rebuild this roof and look at a few other options. I'm going to come back into the build menu, down to roof, and when I come in to rebuild the roof automatically, the program is going to ask you if you want to rebuild the roof and remove the surfaces that you have changed, and it will delete those. I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And now let's go back around. Let's tap on this wall. I'm going to reset that back to a regular hip style wall, so we have gables on both ends. And we probably want to make this a back to the 6 and 12 pitched roof. So let's just go back in real quickly and change that back to a 6 and 12 pitched roof. Now one of the things you can do is you can create roof ends and what's called a Dutch gable. Let's click on this end wall above the garage and just double click to open it up. On the roof panel, what you can do is you can select that this is a Dutch gable wall. From that point, you can come in from the baseline, which is inside from the wall where the roof would bear on top of the wall. And I'm just going to come in here and move that in 24 inches. And let's take a look at how that changes the roof style. That's called a Dutch gable roof inside of the program. So we rotate around to the back side. Let's look at the option of creating a roof return. So I'm going to tap on this wall, double click to open it up, and you're going to find the auto roof return, and there's a few options in here. The length of the return, the extend amount, whether you want it to be gable, hip, or full. I'm going to choose that it's a full roof return, and we'll accept the rest of the defaults inside of this roof return. So that's called a full roof return inside of the program. Now the next step for the roof is to create a dual pitch. To do that, let's grab this wall, click on it, and now I'm going to hold my Alt key down and my middle mouse button to rotate around, hold my Shift key down so I can grab both walls simultaneously. At that point, let's use the open, and on the roof panel, let's come in here and put that there is an upper pitch, and for the upper pitch, let's just use that it's 2 and 12, and in from the baseline, I'm just going to set that to be 72 inches. And let's see what that looks like. So this is more barn-like in this look. Now the next step is let's figure out how to use the manual roof tool and draw a roof plane over the top of the post and beam, and then have that roof plane connect into this roof. It's going to be easiest to do that in the floor plan view. Let's click on the panel for the floor plan, and right in here is where I want to use the roof tool to draw over the top of the beam. You'll find the roof plane tool underneath of the build roof tool, and when you get ready to use this, since I have the automatic roof tool on and I left click and drag, the program at this point is going to ask you if you would like to turn off the automatic rebuild roofs. and I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Now notice when I clicked and dragged that roof plane, I didn't worry about being too exact. It's important when you're drawing roofs, or ceilings for that matter, don't worry about being too exact. You can always fix it later, and that way you're not worried about where it's going to snap. And then I'll just use the edit tools and I'll pull it onto the edge of the beam both ways. Now to figure out exactly where this roof plane is, let's use the elevation tool and take a look. I'm going to come into the menu, I'm going to use the cross-section elevation tool, come out here, and I'm just going to click and drag to create the elevation. Now you can see that this roof plane came in at the same height as the fascia. It also came in at the default 6 and 12 pitch. I want to move this roof plane down so that it bears on top of the post. If I click towards the top of it and double click to open it up, let's go in and take a look at the settings that we want to do. First thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I lock, and you can lock a number of things, and this roof plane will pivot about it. You can see that lock indicator moving around. If I lock the fascia top, which would be right over in here, and then we change the pitch, let's go ahead and shift that to 3 and 12, close the dialog, it pivoted that roof around that point. Now the next thing I want to do, if I zoom in, is figure out how much further down do I need to move this. And you can use the tape measure tool. And I'm just going to come in here and measure approximately what that distance is. So we'll come up and it looks like maybe 11.5 or 12 inches. So let's go back into that roof plane, double click to open it up. I'm going to make sure that I do lock pitch in this case, and then at the fascia top I'm just going to say minus 12 inches, press the tab key. You can see what all the values are for the different locations. Close that, and now that pulls that roof plane right down where I need it. Now back into 3D view, rotate around, you can see we now need to figure out where is this roof plane going to intersect into the larger roof. The easiest way to do that is just click on this roof plane. Notice that the upper edge has a red selection handle. That means it's the active edge. You'll find a join roof plane tool in the lower section of my menu. There's also a number 2 next to it, which means the number 2 is a shortcut to invoke that tool. Click that tool, come over here, click on the roof plane. You can see that it joins. Sometimes you may need to press the F12 key on it to force the rebuild, and now you can see where it joins. Let me go ahead and pull that back, and I'm going to show you one other way to figure out exactly where that roof plane needs to join. Let's go over into the floor plan view and take a look. One of the tools you can use to figure out where this roof plane joins the other roof plane is you can project an intersection point. You're going to find this setting underneath of your preferences, underneath the architectural panel. And if you check this option here to place automatic roof intersection points, this will help to project the intersection points for the two roof planes. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on the larger roof plane, then I'm going to click on the edge of the smaller roof plane. You'll see the projected CAD point. I'll click on the edge, pull it out until it snaps on there. You can see that it now is intersected, and you can confirm that into the 3D view, and we've used that projected point to determine where those two roofs will intersect. Now the next step I want to go through is to take the covered porch and have it meet the fascia of the larger roof. I'm going to click on the smaller roof plane. I'm just going to pull it back, and let's go back into the floor plan view and let's snap that on top of the larger roof plane. Back in the plan view, we'll come over, click on this, pull it in there, and when you look at this in the elevation view, there will be a mismatch on where those are at. What I need to do is pivot that roof down and have it match into the fascia. Let's figure out what we have here. Let's click on the roof plane here, double click and open it up. I want to take a look at what the shadow board height is. I'm going to highlight that value, copy it, and we'll close that dialog. I'm going to open up the smaller roof plane, and in this case I want to make sure that I lock the fascia top, and then for the ridge top I'm going to come in, paste that value in there, press tab. It will show you the updates and the new pitch for that smaller roof. And then that should match up exactly, and we can confirm that in the elevation view to make sure that those two roof planes are exactly matched up. Now the next step I want to go through is to create a story and a half. And as I get ready to do that, I want to show you the steps to delete all of your roof planes and reset all of your walls. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to make a copy of this roof plane because I don't want to go through the steps and recreate it. So I'm just going to copy that, Control C or Command C for a Mac. And then let's go into the Edit menu and I'm going to come down to Delete Objects. Underneath Delete Objects, I'm going to come over and I'm going to delete all of the roof planes. And then the next step, if you want to reset all of your walls back to normal, would be to come in here, use your wall tool. I'm going to come over, I'm going to hold my Shift key, draw a marquee around all of the walls, open them up, and then you can come over and reset them back to a hip roof, and that will reset all of your walls. And so when we go back into the 3D view, we are back at the point where we began with. Now the step to create a story and a half. Let's begin by building a second floor. I'm going to come into the Build menu, come down to Build Floor, and we're just going to build a new second floor with a default 8-foot ceiling. And then let's go back into the Build Roof option, and let's just turn on our automatic roof and take a look. Now, this is just considered a 2-story house. Let's switch this back to full gable wall. We'll grab both walls and toggle those back. So this is a 2-story house, and what I want to do is I want to go through the step to create what's called a story and a half. Back into the Build Roof menu, and what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to ignore the second floor. So it will then force the roof to build at the top of the first floor. But what I want to do is I'm going to raise that roof up. I'm going to raise it 5 feet or 60 inches. And again, the key to this is ignore the top or second floor. That's going to build the roof on top of the first floor, but it's going to raise it up 5 feet. And you're going to notice what happened in this case is it changed the roof to a hip roof. Remember, we reset the walls, and it's using the walls and ignoring those on the top floor. And what I need to do now is just grab those lower walls and convert them to a gable, and we're right back to where we were. So this is called a story and a half. You can toggle the glass house view on and verify what just happened here. And on the sides over here, it would have raised that roof 60 inches on the sides. It's called a story and a half. Oftentimes you'll have a couple of walls in here that would be maybe considered a knee wall, and then you've lowered your roof and built it on that first floor, raised it up off the plate, whatever the predetermined distance is. Now I'm just going to use the copy paste hold position, turn off the automatic roof. We'll pull that other roof plane in, and then we'll snap that onto the wall, and now I have that roof back on that we had originally deleted. Now the key to making any changes to this roof would be required to be done on the first floor. Let's go ahead and grab the 2 sidewalls. I'm going to hold my Alt key down and the middle mouse button to rotate around. I'm going to grab these 2 walls, open them up. We'll go back in and change the pitch to 2 and 12, and in from the baseline, let's set that at 72 inches. And when I make that change, you're not going to see anything happen, because when I pasted the roof on the other side, we turned off the automatics. Let's take a look at how you can rebuild the roof but not lose this manually drawn roof plane. Inside of the Build Roof dialog, you're going to find an option to rebuild the roof. I don't want to turn on the automatic. The automatic would remove the manual roof plane we created over the covered area. I'm going to click Build Roof Planes and then use this one that says Retain Manually Drawn Roof Planes. You can also use this tool called Retain Edited Automatic Roof Planes. If I were to manually edit this and make a change to it, that's when I would use that option. So by turning on the Build Roof, not Auto, and retain the automatic, you can see that the roof then rebuilds, and it just requires you to click the Build option if you've manually drawn a roof plane and you want to retain it. So this is a story and a half with a 2 pitch, and that's how the roof tools work in a nutshell. I'm going to skip ahead here and I'm going to open up a completed project and let's go through the process of transforming the roof. Now in this portion of the video, let's have a little bit of fun. I've opened up the Bachelor View sample plan and I want to create this style of a roof. When you come into the floor plan view, you can see all the walls laid out, and I'm going to do this roof design in 3D. You may find it's easier to do it in 2D, but it will be visually easier for you to follow. Let's go into the build menu and come down and create our roof. And what I want to do with the initial roof is turn on the automatics. I'm going to build it at 2 and 12, and then I'm just going to leave the default settings for the rest of the roof. And this is going to create the default hip roof that you can see as we move around. Now, one of the tips that I like to do is I like to make a lot of changes simultaneously. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on the back wall and all of the walls really that need to be full gable walls. So I'm going to hold my shift key down and grab these two walls. Now you'll notice that there are other walls that I'm going to want to select. I can't seem to get to them in this selection mode. I'm on a PC, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my Alt key down and my middle mouse button. That will allow me to maintain the selection of the two walls. I can hold my Shift key down and get the third wall. We'll rotate around to get the front. Now if you're using a Mac, key that you can use on a Mac would be the Command Alt left mouse button, I believe it is, and then you can do the same selection. So all I'm doing here on the PC is holding my Alt key down and middle mouse button, and that allows me to select all the walls. And as we kind of toggle up, you can see all of the walls that I have selected, and now I can convert those to a full gable wall and save myself a little bit of time and not do multiple selections. Let's take a look at this area that would be the bedroom. I want to have a shed style roof for the bedroom. I'm going to select the two side walls, grab both of those, double click to open them up, come over, mark that they're a high shed gable wall, and now you can see the effect of that. Let's do the exact same thing on the main living area. This is the main living area right in here. So to do that, I'm going to grab the two side walls. So click, shift click, use the open button here, and make the same change to the high shed gable wall, and then you can see what that looks like. Now one of the things that looks a little bit odd is we don't have much of a gap in here where that shed meets the ridge. So I want to change the pitch for this roof only for this section. So how do I do that? Let's rotate around. Let's grab the two opposing walls. So click, shift click. I'm going to come down, open those two walls up, and I'm going to come in and change the pitch for those walls. And it's only going to change it for those walls. So the rest of the roof is going to stay at 2 and 12, whereas that segment would change to 3 and 12. Here's another tool that I like to use, the gable roofline. If you take, just for the example of this, we take this gable that's on this side and we want to make that gable come across here and make it symmetrical. What's the best way to do that? Well, there's a couple of tools that you can use. Let's switch our, say, plan view over to the roof view so we can see what we have. In this view you can see all of the roof planes. One of the tools that we have is called the gable roofline. And if you come in somewhere near the edge of that wall and you draw the gable roofline, it will automatically create a gable for you. It's a handy tool if you're drawing it over an entryway, against a flat wall, or maybe over a window. Let me show you another way to do that because I want this to be exactly symmetrical. And if I toggle on my crosshair, I want that roof plane to come down and be exactly symmetrical. And I don't want to try to click on this and pull it over and maybe run a dimension and figure out where it's at exactly. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to show you one of the tricks that I might use to make that exactly symmetrical. Click on this wall, and this is a temporary edit. I'm going to pull this wall down so I know exactly where it's going to intersect. And now I'm going to take this larger wall down here and I'm going to use the break tool. I'm going to create a break right at this intersection. Using the break tool, let's come in here, use the break tool. I'm going to put a notch right in that segment. Now I can tap on that wall. I can use the toggle to toggle that to a gable wall, and now that gable exactly matches the other gable above. And then we'll just simply pull this wall back, snap that into place, and then back in the 3D view, you can see that we have that gable over the top of it. Now the final thing that we might take a look at is, what about providing an option to the client that this roof would be curved? Well, we looked at that earlier. You can open up this roof by double clicking on it. You can come down to the curve section at the ridge, type in 0, and that will curve that segment. Program will prompt you to turn off the automatics. We're okay with that. And then with this gap in here, you can use the join roof plane tool. The shortcut is number 2 on your keyboard. Click on the other roof plane. It will then merge the two. You can do the exact same operation. The number 2 on the keyboard, click on this one, and it will join the two roof planes, and now you can evaluate if you like that segment curved or not. And now when you take a look at my screen that I have up now, this is what the final roof ended up looking like, where we put larger windows on the back. I would encourage you to try these same steps. You can download the different files and give it a try for yourself. I would like to point everybody out to the website. We have our next session coming up. If you scroll down and you look at our training information, we have our free webinars. The next one will be next Thursday. We're going to be covering ceilings. And then the following week, we actually have a chief boot camp going on, terrain and site plans, and then a couple of rendering sessions that will be coming up that you can attend with rendering and then ray tracing in a few more weeks after that. Those are free sessions. And then if you want to attend a virtual training, these are full classes that we are offering, and we actually have an introductory class beginning on May 4th, a intermediate class beginning on May 5th, and then a kitchen and bath class beginning on May 20th. All of our training while we're in this interesting times is on sale for 20% off, and I would encourage you to reach out and take advantage of that. If you have specific issues and you want a personalized trainer, we do one-on-one training, and that's available through our website. If you want to learn more about all of our training classes, you can come into our training services, and it describes exactly what our training is and how that works. Thanks everybody for attending, and have a great day.